significant moments at the fonts. But first now, here I record some settings would be records at the moment. Okay, requirements is okay. Now let's check it. Salam Habibi, how are you? I hope you are fine. It is me, Michaela Caesar de Santa. I am here with you. Accordance with titles, yes. Well, today we are roasting here Donald Trump's, and now, what is the topic? The topic is toxic feminism, and today's toxic feminist is Kamala Harris. And now, here is my point that United States Navy versus Bangladesh Naval terrorist. And here we can see what is the accountability that Donald Trump could not fulfill. Okay. Now here we can see the points. Well, here we could notify. First of all, here disclaimer is Donald Trump is my most favorite United States president, and here we can see we are happy that Donald Trump becomes the president of United States of America, but somehow Donald Trump could not fulfill his responsibility to eliminate a one girl to be American. The one girl is Kamala Harris. Okay. And now, let's check out the points. What's the movement of the United States Navy? Okay. And now let's get the points. Oh my God, nice. We can say, well. Now here we contains the moments United States Naval submarine departure is New York, the city of United States of America, and arrival is Dhaka, Bangladesh, only to eliminate Bangladeshi naval terrorists, particularly the following Bangladeshi naval terrorist, Shama Obayat. Okay. Now let's check out the points. What was the plan of Kamala Harris if Kamala Harris could become the United States president versus what is the plan of real President Donald Trump? And here I am here to mention that how Donald Trump could not fulfill his responsibility to eliminate Kamala Harris. First of all, here we can see that is the points that can notify. Okay. It is the United States presidential elections. In that case, in 2024, Donald Trump elected president as an electoral seat to be 312. On the other hand, the Kamala Harris could get electoral seat to be 226. If someone can get more than 270, he can be president. Okay. Now here we can see this moment. New York City was the New York provincial state was the state where Kamala Harris could get here 55.9% votes, where Donald Trump could get here 43.3% votes. Okay. And now let's check at the moments. What's going on at the points? Now, as a person, how much voters vote Kamala Harris? That was 4,619,195, and Donald Trump Donald Trump gets the votes to be 3,578,899, where Donald Trump gets votes. Well, as a round figure, we can see this Kamala Harris could get here 4.7 million votes, and Donald Trump could get here 3.6 million votes. Okay, now let's check at the moments. Well, now let's check at the effects. And in these cases, well, from New York, the city of United States of America, to Dhaka, the capital city of Bangladesh, United States military submarines can travel almost naval distance to be 11,435.2. Now, what is 11,435.2? That is here as a significant point. That is almost here 21,177 kilometers, 990 meters, 400 millimeters. As a round figures, that is almost here. Okay. As a round figure, that is almost 22,000 kilometers. Okay. Now here we can see this moments. Well, here we can notify that what is the calculations of the moments. Okay. Accordance with Donald Trump's plans, when Donald Trump is the elected president of United States of America, according with Donald Trump plans, United States naval submarines velocity would be 220,000 kilometer per second. Okay. Now here you can see, and here I am going to here check it about the American New York time zones. So, well, according with New York time zones, here today is here evening night 8 o'clock, July 4, 2026 as a today's time zone. Okay. Now let's check at the moments what's going on. Now in that case, here well, according with Donald Trump plans, here departure time would be, United States Naval submarines departure time would be morning 6 o'clock, July 4, 2026 from here New York, and arrival time would be here morning 6 o'clock, 0.1 second past, July 4, 2026 on Dhaka, the capital city of Bangladesh, only because here United States naval military submarines velocity would be 220,000 kilometer per second when naval distance is 22,000 kilometers. Okay, this is the plans of Donald Trump. Okay, now on the other hand, what is the plan of Kamala Harris? In these cases, Kamala Harris' plan is simple. Okay, accordance with Kamala Harris' plan, where New York provincial state is under control of Kamala Harris, here New York, but United States naval submarine departure from New York would be here morning 6 o'clock, July 4th, 2026. And here, according with Kamala Harris' plans, here United States naval submarines, hence velocity would be 11,000 kilometer per hours. I apologize, 11 kilometer per hours as a velocity of United States naval submarine according with Kamala Harris' plans. But on the other hand, according with the same Kamala Harris plan, what is the velocity of Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines? That would be 22,000 kilometers per hour. Okay. Now here we can see the points when according with Kamala Harris plans, when velocity would be 11 km per hour, as a velocity of United States naval submarines, but naval distance is 22,000 kilometers. What is the meaning of that? That means their naval timing would be 2000 hours. Now what is 2000 hours? 2 multiplied by 1000 hours. And what is 1000 hours? That is 83 days, 4 hours. That means 2000 hours. The meaning of the 2000 hours is 166 days, 8 hours. Well, and now here we can see today is July 4th. Well, what is the 166th day started from July 4th? That means here 173rd day from the July 1st. Okay. Both of July and August contains here 62 days. Well, both September and October contains here 61 days. What is 62 sum by 61? That is here 123. Now let's check the moments. What is 70 subtract by 23? That is 50 subtract by 3. That is here 47. November contains 30 days. That means 47 subtract by 30 is 70. Well, the date would, arrival date would be December 17, 2026. Okay. Now, what is the time from morning 6 o'clock sum by 8 hours? That is afternoon 2 o'clock. That means, here accordance with Kamala Harris plans, here, now here we can see this moments. Accordance with the plans of Kamala Harris, what is the departure times? Morning 6 o'clock, July 4, 2026. But what is the arrival of the United States naval submarines under the plan of Kamala Harris? That is afternoon 2 o'clock, December 17th, 2026. Okay. That means 1 day later from the National Victory Day of Bangladesh. And now that is the significant moment. So here we can see. Well, this is the plan of United States naval submarines under Kamala Harris. Okay. And now, on the other hand, according with same Kamala Harris plans, what is the Bangladeshi naval terrorist plans? What is the Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines departure times and arrival times? In that cases, Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines departure time would be morning 6 o'clock, July 4th, 2026. And arrival time would be morning 7th o'clock, July 1st and July 4th, 2026. Because their travel time would be 1 hour, naval distance is 22,000 kilometers and naval velocity would be 22,000 kilometers per hour as a velocity of Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines. That is the plans of Kamala Harris. According with the plan of Kamala Harris, when here United States naval submarine velocity could be 11 km per hour and here Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines velocity would be 22,000 km per hour. Now here we can see when United States naval submarines can travel 11 kilometers in 1 hour, Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines arrive to United States naval submarines in the near to the New York City, and Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines can defeat the United States military naval submarines. That is the significant plans of Kamala Harris. And now, here we could see the irony is that here Kamala Harris could get here 4.7 million votes in near provincial states. On the other hand, well, according with the Donald Trump's plans, he does not know that what would be the velocity of Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines. Here we can see this points. It can be naturally 44 km per hour or 88 km per hour as the velocity of Bangladeshi terrorist naval submarine. But as a concept, we can assume that accordance with Kamala Harris plans, Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines velocity would be 22,000 km per hour. But according with Donald Trump's plans, here United States naval military submarines velocity would be 220,000 km per second. And here we can see this point. Now let's check it. What is the moments? Here, both of United States naval military submarines and Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines departure time is morning 6 o'clock, July 4th, 2026. And now, United States naval military submarines arrival time would be morning 6 o'clock, 0.1 second past July 4th, 2026, and the Bangladeshi terrorist arrival time would be here morning 7 o'clock, July 4th, 2026. Because when as a velocity, United States naval military submarine velocity would be 220,000 km per second, and Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines velocity would be 22,000 km per hour. And now let's take at the moments when Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarine could not depart from Dhaka, the capital city of Bangladesh, properly. Here, United States naval military submarines can attack on Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines, and United States naval military submarine can defeat Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines easily, according with the plans of Donald Trump. But the irony is this. The United States naval military submarines probable departure place, the New York province, contains the election results of 2024, where Donald Trump could get here 3.6 million voters, and the anti-national Kamala Harris could get here 4.7 million voters. And now it is the points, and here is my questions, that why Donald Trump did not take any actions against here 4.7 million voters to vote Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris as well. It is the significant moments that can be destructive, as we could see. Okay. Now here we can say the small moments, and now here is the justified points. Okay. And now it is here naval terrorist submarines at the points. But now on the other hand, here In election 2024, from August to November, here we can see Kamala Harris hires the several young from Bangladesh, where to get here 4.7 million votes. Here we can say this here 4.7 million voters to vote Kamala Harris, where the proper Bangladeshi. It is the as an assume. Okay. Well, let's come into the points about the war times. And in these cases, now when Donald Trump is president of the United States of America in real times, and here is my question that why Donald Trump did not provide a death sentence to Kamala Harris. That is our questions. Because, well, Donald Trump get elected in November 2024, and Donald Trump received an oath to become a president in 2025. And now, today's now what is the today's parts? In that case, today's clock is here evening 8 o'clock, July 4, 2026. And here is my questions that why Donald Trump did not take any actions against Kamala Harris in 1 month, I mean in 1 year 6 days, why Donald Trump did not take any action against Kamala Harris in 1 year 6 months. That is my significant questions at the points. Okay. Now here we have discussed air velocities and we have discussed about the travel terms. Now let's discuss the kinetic energies. Okay. And in these cases, when we can discuss the kinetic energies, now here we can see that what is here meaning of 22,000 kilometer per second. Well, and here I am going to calculate it. And now let's check at the moments, and we can see that is the following for you. Okay. Now in these cases, 2200 divided by I apologize, 220 divided by 300 is almost 0.734. Okay. Now it is 73.4% velocity of lights. Okay. In that cases, now here we can see what is the value of lambda subtract by 1s. Okay. Because here we are calculating kinetic powers in the method of Albert Einsteinian kinetic powers method. Okay. Now let's check at the moments. Well, what is value of lambda? 1 divided by, well, square root of 1 subtract bracket of 1 subtract by here 0.734 square, enter bracket close. Okay, enter bracket close. That is the value of lambda. And now you can see the value of lambda is 1.47243. Now what is value of lambda subtract by 1s? That is here we can see 0.47243. Okay. And now let's check at the moments. Well, we know here in that cases when velocity. Now here we can know. Well, when we know here the weight of United States Naval military submarine is 34 million kilograms. I mean 34 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 kilograms. Hence, here we can see the statistic energies of United States naval submarine is here 34 multiplied by 9 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 multiplied by 10 to the power 16, that is 306 multiplied by 10 to the power 22 joules. And now, in this case, here is my points that what is the moments at the we could see. Well, what is the kinetic energies? Well, 306 multiplied by 10 to the power 22. Enter multiple by watts. Here 0.47243. Okay. Now here we can see that is almost 1.446 multiplied by 10 to the power 24 joules. That means what is 1446 quadrillions megajoules. Now let's convert it about the moments. Well, what is here the meanings of 1446 quadrillions megajoules when here the travel time is 0.1 seconds? In that cases, what the kinetic power is here 14,460 quadrillion megawatts. And now that is the moment. Here we could see Donald Trump kinetic United States naval military submarines kinetic power is 14,460 quadrillion megawatts, and that is the momentum at the points. Okay. Now here we can see what about the Kamala Harris, and now let's take the moments. Okay. Now in this case, according with Kamala Harris plans, here United States naval military submarines velocity would be here 11 km per hour. Now what is 11 km per hour? That means 11 multiplied by 1000 divided by 3600 enter meter per second. That means velocity to be meter per second would be 110 divided by 36. And now here is the moments. What's going on? Here 110 divided by 36. Oh my god. 110 divided by 36, and that can be here, that is almost 3.056 meter per second. As in round figures, we can calculate as a 4 meter per second to be the meaning of here 11 kilometer per hour. Okay, and now let's take the moments. In that cases, the half of weight of United States naval military submarines accordance with Kamala Harris plans, that would be here 17 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 kilograms. Now let's take the moments. Here the accordance with Isaac Newton's kinetic powers equations. I mean here Isaac Newton's kinetic energy method. Here kinetic energy of Kamala Harris United States naval submarines velocity naval military submarine is here 17 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 multiplied by 4. Now what is 17 multiplied by 4? That is 68. That means it is almost 68 megajoules. Okay. That means 68 multiplied by 10 to the power 6. And now here is the moments that what is the moments at the topics. 68 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 joule divided by 72 multiplied by 10 to the power 5 seconds, because here the meaning of 166 days 8 years is 72 multiplied by 10 to the power 5 seconds, because it is the meaning to be 2000 hours. And now let's check it what's going on. So, well, 68 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 entered divided by bracket of 72 multiplied by 10 to the power 5. And now let's check at the moments what's going on. That would be almost 9.45 watts. Okay. Well, here we can see these moments, but according with Kamala Harris plans, here United States naval military submarines kinetic parts would be 9.45 watts, but according with Donald Trump plans, here United States naval military submarines kinetic parts would be 14,460 quadrillion megawatts. Now, where is 14,460 quadrillion megawatts and where is 9.45 watts? In this case, here we could see, well, that's the difference at the moment. Donald Trump's United States military submarine is 1446 multiplied by 10 to the power 21 times more powerful than Kamala Harris United States naval military submarines. And now here is the moments we could check. Okay. And now here is the points. What is the moments here? Kamala Harris plans about Bangladeshi terrorist naval submarines. In that case, the Bangladeshi terrorist naval submarines here under the plan of Kamala Harris, we can calculate the kinetic force, and here we could see the velocity would be 22,000 km per hour. Now, what is 22,000 km per hour? That means, well, 22 million divided by 3600 enter meter per second. And here we can see 22 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 divided by 36 meter per second. Now here is the calculation moments, that what is the meaning of that. In that cases, well, and here we could see that is the significant terms. 22 multiplied by 10 to the power 4, that can be divided by what? 36. Well, okay. Now here we can see this points. 22 multiplied by 10 to the power 4, that can be divided by 36. And now here is the moments we could see, that is almost 6 point, that is 6,111.2 meter per second. Okay. Well, as we can see this points, well, here we can see that is the moments. What is 17 multiplied by 6,111.2? That would be here, well, 103,890.4. Well, now here we can see, well, according to the Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines, here the same formula, the half of weight of Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines weight is Here 17 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 is kilograms. And now, what is the equations of kinetic energies? Here equation of kinetic energy is 17 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 multiplied by 6,000 triple 1.2 meter per second. And now, here is the moments. Hence, the kinetic energy is 103,890.4 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 joules. That means is in round figure that would be 104 multiplied by 10 to the power 9 joules. Okay. Now let's check it. So here we could see the travel time is 1 hour. That means 3600 seconds. Now what is the meaning of that? Here we can see the calculation is 104 multiplied by 10 to the power 9 joule divided by 3600 seconds. That means 104 multiplied by 10 to the power 7 joule divided by 36 seconds. And now let's check it. What is going on the calculations? And in this case is 104 multiplied by 10 to the power 7 and divided by what? 36. That case we can see that would be the points 29 megawatts. Okay. That means almost 29 million watts. 29 megawatts. And now let's take at the points. Accordance with Kamala Harris plans, here Bangladeshi Naval terrorist submarines kinetic power would be 29 megawatts. And here United States Naval military submarines kinetic power would be 9.45 watts. And here we can see these moments. Now here we can see this. I am here just for some 2 minutes off camera because of my illness. Now let's check at the moments. And what was the happening in this case? Here, accordance with our Kamala Harris, Bangladeshi Naval submarines, Bangladeshi Naval terrorist submarines would be 2.9 multiplied by 10 to the power 5 times powerful than United States Naval military submarines. Okay. That is the momentums at the points. But now, let's check it. What's going on about the United States Naval submarines kinetic powers accordance with the plans of Donald Trump. In that cases, accordance with Donald Trump's plans, here United States Naval military submarines kinetic power would be 14,460 quadrillions megawatts. And here Bangladeshi Naval terrorist submarines would be here almost 29 megawatts. Now where is 29 megawatts and where is 14,460 quadrillions megawatts? That means here we can see here the calculation we can calculate as a 14,460 divided by 30. Well, that means 1446 divided by 3. That can calculate as a In that case, Donald Trump United States naval military submarines would be 482 multiplied by 10 to the power 15 times more powerful than Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines. And now let's check it. What is the irony? In that cases, the irony is that when here accordance with plans, well, of Kamala Harris, United States naval military submarines would be at 2.9 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 times weaker than Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines. And here, according with Donald Trump, United States naval submarines is 482 multiplied by 10 to the power 15 times more powerful than here Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines. Still, according to the elections of New York province of the presidential elections, Kamala Harris could get here 4.7 million votes, where Donald Trump gets here 3.6 million votes. And now, that is the moments at the points. Here we can see that how 4.6 million voters would be anti-nationals, that they can be dedicated to elect the anti-national Kamala Harris to be candidate of the president of United States of America. Here, when they know that, in this case, New York provincial state will be containing the sovereignty in dangers in the hand of Bangladeshi naval terrorists. Still, 4.7 million voters vote Kamala Harris. And now, let's check the moments. And the irony is that after knowing this circumstance, Donald Trump did not take any action against 4.7 million voters vote to Kamala Harris and Kamala Harris as well. And in fact, in the points, Donald Trump did not provide any death penalty both to 4.7 million voters vote to Kamala Harris and the presidential candidate Kamala Harris. And here is my question, that why Donald Trump wants Kamala Harris and 4.7 million New York voters vote to Kamala Harris to be alive. That is my significant question. And here we can see somehow when the domestic traitors is the biggest enemy than the foreign enemy, because the domestic traitors is here significant threat for the national sovereignty of United States of America. And now that is becoming the truth. Okay. And now that is the significant dangerous momentum as we could see. Well, now here we can see the points. Here we have mentioned the kinetic powers. We have mentioned the here velocity. We have mentioned here what travel terms. Now let me mention that what is the meaning of that. In the cases, what is the pulse? Well, according with Donald Trump's plans here, United States naval military submarine fuel would be artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 million 666,666 degrees Celsius. Well, That is the fuel plan of Donald Trump. And what is the fuel plan of Kamala Harris? Here the fuel plans of Kamala Harris is here almost a 4. Here the fuel plan of Kamala Harris is United States naval military submarines would contain the cargo ship oils. On the other hand, here Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines can contain the fuel to be artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. And here is why the Drupur Atomic Electric Centers is still established and still in the correct way. And that is the problematic for the national security of the sovereignty of United States of America. Okay, now let's check it, what's going on. And now here is the significant threats we could see. Okay. Now first of all, here let's check it. We can check as a Kamala Harris plans. Now what is the Kamala Harris plans? Here fuel volume would be here calculated like 104 multiplied by 10 to the power 9 joules as the kinetic energy of United States naval military submarines divided by here bracket of 2000 as a joule per kilogram per Kelvin as a specific heat of cargo ship walls multiplied by 50 degrees Celsius as a highest temperature difference. Well, multiplied by 1.01 kilogram per liter as a density of cargo ship walls. That would be here the point bracket close. Now let's check it. What is the moments in that cases? Well, here we could see that would be 1,029,703 liters of cargo ship walls. Okay. Now it is the moments. Oh my Adonai. Well, I think it would be some things like significant moments. It is the calculation as in Bangladeshi terrorist naval submarines kinetic energies. Okay, that's great. Now, on the other hand, what is your fuel volume to be here? United States naval military submarines, that is would be 68 multiplied by 10 to the power 4. Okay. Now we can see 68 multiplied by 10 to the power 6. That can be as a joule to be kinetic energy of United States naval military submarines kinetic energy that can be divided by bracket of the same process 2000 joule per kilogram per Kelvin multiplied by 50 degrees Celsius temperature difference multiplied by 1.01 kilogram per liters as the temperatures the density of cargo ship walls. And now that would be here 373 liters of cargo ship walls. And now let's back to the points when Bangladeshi naval terrorist submarines can contain here fuel to be artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. In that cases, Well, fuel weight would be here 104 multiplied by 10 to the power 9 can be divided by bracket of 15,408 joule per kilogram per Kelvin as a specific heat of artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius bracket multiplied by the following temperatures. Hence, the fuel weight would be 0.1. I apologize. 1.014 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 662 kilograms of artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius as an here plans of Kamala Harris about Bangladeshi terrorist naval submarines. Now let's check here what is the plan of Donald Trump about United States naval military submarines. Here we can see the fuel would be artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 million 666,000 666 degrees Celsius. Hence the fuel weight would be 144 well now 1446 multiplied by 10 to the power 21 joules that can be divided by bracket of 15,408 joule per kilogram per Kelvin as a specific heat of artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 million 666,000 666 degrees Celsius. And now let's check this what is with the points. That would be 1.41 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 666 million 666,000 649 kilograms of artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of well 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 million 666,000 666 degrees Celsius. Yes, that is the points. And now here is the moments that it is the plans of Donald Trump about United States naval military submarine. But irony is that here we can see here we could notify the irony is that Donald Trump get the vote to be 3.6 million voters in New York provincial state in the during the presidential elections 2024, where in the same times Kamala Harris could get here 4.7 million. Well, now here we can see that is the moments. Here we could see the how Kamala Harris plan is dangerous for the sovereignty of United States of America. But still here Kamala Harris could get 1.1 million voters more than Donald Trump in the presidential election in New York provincial state. But the irony is that after knowing this, still Donald Trump did not take any actions against both of Kamala Harris and 4.7 million voters in New York provincial states vote to Kamala Harris. Now that is the point. Now here is my question that what is the reason that Donald Trump did not take any actions against both of 4.7 million voters vote to Democrats and Kamala Harris? That is the significant question from me to our Honorable United States President Donald Trump. And now let's check the moments. In 2024, here is my question that how Kamala Harris could get 4.7 million volts. Okay. Now in this cases, here highest, the heaviest ERCs could get here almost, what is the punch? Almost here 50 seats as the heaviest ERCs. Now let's check at the moments. What is 4.7 million divided by 50? That would be here 9.8 million divided by 100. That is 98 multiplied by 10 to the power 5 divided by 10 square. That means here 98 multiplied by 10 cube ERCs is required to for Kamala Harris has that she could get any 4.7 million votes to beat Donald Trump in New York provincial electoral states. And now let's take at the moments where the Bangladeshi terrorist was necessary. And now let's get the points. And here we can get, let's check it here. In that case, the illegal Bangladeshi voters' velocity from Dhaka, the capital city of Bangladesh, to New York provincial state of United States of America would be 22,000 km per second, where naval distance is 22,000 kilometers. And here, now let's take it. Well, velocity would be in this case is that points. Well, departure time from Dhaka, Bangladesh would be morning 6 o'clock. Well, November 1, 2024, and arrival time would be morning 6 o'clock, 1 second past, November 1, 2024. And now, let's get the moments. Well, 4.7 million voters at sometimes. Let's check it. What's going on? Now, what is the kinetic energy? That would be here 9. Half of weight of 1 ERCs would be here 6 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 kilograms. That means here half of weight of 98 multiplied by 10 cube times ERCs weight would be here. Well, 49 multiplied by 10 cube multiplied by 12 multiplied by 10 to the power 4. And here we can see 49 multiplied by 12 is what? Oh my god, nice. Well, 12 multiplied by 49, that is almost 588. On the other hand, 3 sum by 4 is 7. That means it is almost 488 multiplied by 10 to the power 7 kilograms. Okay. Now let's check at the words. What is the kinetic energy? Here the velocity is, well, here we can see the response. What is the velocity? That would be here 22,000 kilometer per second. That means 22 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 meter per second. Now here we can see what is the going on. What is 22 square? Here is the that is 484. That means here we could see the velocity square is 484 multiplied by 10 to the power 12 meter square per second square. Now let's check at the points. What is the kinetic energy? In this moment, kinetic energy is when the travel time is 1 second. Here measurement of Distance is the definition of velocity, and here kinetic power is kinetic energy. Hence the calculations of kinetic power is almost watts. That is here 488 multiplied by 10 to the power 7 multiplied by here 500. I apologize. Here calculation is 588 multiplied by 10 to the power 7 multiplied by 484 multiplied by 10 to the power 12. Now what is 7 sum by 12? That is 19. Hence that 10 to the power 7 multiplied by 10 to the power 12 is 10 to the power 19. Okay. Now here you can see that is the points. What is 588 multiplied by 484? That is here 284,900. I mean 284,592. Okay. That means here we can see this point. It is 284,600 as a round figures. Okay. It is the points. That is here 2846 quadrillion megawatts as a kinetic powers of 98 multiplied by 10 cube. That is to contains 4.7 million voters only vote to whom? Kamala. And now let's take it the moments. And now that is the what would be the fuel. In that cases, in the fuel would be here petrol. I apologize. Fuel would be here cargo ship oils. Now let's take it the moments. And here we could control the calculations of the fuel volumes. That here kinetic power is kinetic energy just because travel time is 1 second. Here calculation would be here 2846 multiplied by 10 to the power 21 watts. That can be divided by bracket of 200,000 bracket of 2000 joule per kilogram per Kelvin as a specific heat of cargo ship oils multiplied by 50 degrees Celsius as a highest temperature difference multiplied by 1.01 kilograms per liters as a density of cargo ship oils. Now let's check at the moments. What is the matters at the points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means it is almost here 28.2 thousand quadrillion liters of cargo ship oils. Now we can say this. Cargo ship oils cost is $1 per 1 liter cargo ship oils. Hence, the total cost is 28.2 thousand quadrillion $. But in that times here we can see the gross domestic product of United States is in 2024 is almost 30 trillion United States dollars. Now let's check at the moments. 10 to the power 18 divided by 10 to the power 12 is 10 to the power 6. And here as a calculations 28.2 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 enter divided by here 30. And now let's check it. It is a significant point here. Kamala Harris was destroying here the entire gross domestic products of United States dollars in 940,000 times to bring Bangladeshi illegal immigrants to be voted in uh, New York City as a provincial state, electoral state of United States of America. Hence that in presidential elections 2024, Kamala Harris can get the election 4.7 million votes. And now that is the significant dangerous moments that can be unacceptable. And in this cases, the moments here Kamala Harris brought here 4.7 million Bangladeshi illegal voters in New York provincial states. Here, hence, she can get 1.1 million more votes than Donald Trump's. But the irony is that, well, after knowing this information, here is my question that why Donald Trump did not take any actions against both of Kamala Harris and 4.7 million Bangladeshi illegal voters. Well, and particularly why Donald Trump did not provide a death sentence to Kamala Harris in the reason to be destructions of the gross domestic product of United States of America in 940,000 times to rig the elections in New York electoral provincial states. Yes, that is my question. And here is the question is why Kamala Harris is still alive. That is my question to our honorable President Donald Trump, the President of United States of America. That is my question. Here is the moment that Donald Trump failed to fulfill his responsibility, where his responsibility was to provide death sentence to Kamala Harris, the anti-national candidate of the President of United States of America. And now, that is a significant threat we could notify. And here, here we can see is this the significant threats of the points. Well, now I think here we could see it is the point to provide this point of responsibility to provide the death sentence to Kamala Harris, where Donald Trump contends somehow the lack of responsibilities. And now, well, my next live stream would be what's here my next live stream and the last live stream of the calendar 2026 would be here. Donald Trump's irresponsibility to provide death sentence to the anti-national Americans, Hillary Clinton. Now see you then. Khuda Hafiz. Love you.